Hey guys, how you doing? This is Madhvi from TaroticallySpeaking.com, and as you can see, today I'm going to be reviewing a deck called the Mystical Dream Tarot created by the super awesome Janet Piedilato. I hope I'm saying that correctly. If I haven't, I'm so sorry. Right. The point is, this is not an ordinary tarot deck. This is not your regular tarot deck, but this is a tarot deck that is so brilliant. It's powerful and it's brilliant, and I'm going to talk more about this. So if you are interested, stick around and I'll see you on the other side. Hey guys, how you doing? This is Madhvi from TaroticallySpeaking.com, your tarot blogger, deck and book reviewer, and maker of these awesome videos on YouTube. I'm also a tarot card reader and mentor, and an author of this awesome book on tarot, which is available on Amazon, both paperback and Kindle, all over the world. Now, all of these links and more are in the description, so do check that out. And at the end of this video, hit the like button, share it with your friends, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel for more such awesome tarot videos. Right. So as I was saying earlier, this is a tarot deck, but not your standard tarot deck. This is not a deck that has your standard tarot imagery, although there are some aspects which will evoke your tarot feelings, but this is some much more than tarot, to be honest. As it says right here, life guidance from the depths of our unconscious. And that's the thing. This deck, the imagery for this deck has emerged from Janet's dreams, which she has been having since childhood, which is like, wow, okay, because the subconscious is actually a repository of images and imagery and wisdom and knowledge that we have carried from ages and ages. And like sometimes I feel that even lifetimes, and it's brilliant. It's just like within us exists a land that is forever going to be unexplored completely. You can never chart. There's no map of the subconscious, so to speak, right? And so she has brought forth the images from her subconscious and put them into this deck, and we have that here today. This deck comes packed in this beautiful sturdy box. As you can see, it's you can store it like in your bookcase, if that's how you want to store it, right? It's neatly sort of put together, and there's a little tab here that you can just pull, and voila, this thing comes out. Right, look at that, very sturdy thing, right? And then of course you have this book. It's a full-size book. How many pages? 159 pages. Really, really worthwhile to get into the book. And then of course the cards are like this. Because the book is properly snugly packed, these cards don't move out, because this has been standing upright in my bookcase for a while, so nothing happens. See, we'll get into the cards in a minute. Let's look at the book first, okay? This is again a brilliant resource, because these, and let me tell you this is not your standard tarot deck that you can like an experienced tarot reader, I suppose, could pick it up, just play with the images a little bit, look into the images a little bit, and maybe get into it. But if you really want to get into the depths of this deck, then this book is a must-have resource, because in this book we have all the information about all the symbols and all the imagery that has is part of this particular deck, right? As you can see, the cards have been illustrated by Tom Duxbury, and so they worked together and created this deck. And there's a lot of this, and there's this people have appreciated this deck. And here we have the table of contents. Now, what I do appreciate again, this, the author, Janet, has gone in depth with everything, right? Here she talks about how this deck came to her through the years, right? If you can see, I've been reading through this, right? How the dream images and the tarot have come through for her. And there you go, quickly drawn and painted upon waking and re-envisioned so powerfully by Tom Duxbury. Each image is filled with meaning, which continues to grow, to guide, and to inform us. Okay, getting to know the cards as friends and allies. And then the major arcana. Because you see, the major arcana, the cards are named differently, right? Although they maybe retain the same meanings as the original traditional tarot, but there's a change, right? All of that has been explained, and then of course you get into the card meanings. There's a little picture of the card, which is black and white, sure, but it's great. And then you have a lot of writing, a lot of stuff about that and what it means in a reading, okay? And so on, you go through the whole thing, all of the cards. For the minors, I believe it's a page, and for the majors, it's 2 pages, right? That's fair. And you have your standard cups, wands, swords, pentacles, and I believe the court cards are also named a little differently. You have the pages are the dreamer, the knight will be the spirit, queen is the lady, and the king is the lord, right? Which is again fairly identifiable easily. So again, this is not a deck that I would say suggest a very, very novice or beginner tarot reader to go pick up and play with, unless you're that way genuinely inclined. But I would say, because again, this is not your standard tarot, right? So if you're a novice and you have no preconceived notions about how all the cards should be, then you pick this deck up and you read through the book and start working with the cards. Brilliant. You haven't walked in really with any preconceived notions. Okay, that's one angle to it, or that's one way to approach it. But if you are a somewhat experienced tarot card reader, then you have a fixed idea, because this is what happens. We are in the beginning stages of our journey with the tarot. Eventually we say, oh no, the cards have to be this way, this is how the structure is, and you kind of get fixed with the idea. You're not as flexible as you thought you were. And then you look at the cards and you're like, maybe not. So understand that walking into this deck, it is going to be very different from your regular tarot. Okay, so this is not a deck that you want to pick up with any preconceived notions in your mind that, oh, tarot has to be this way or the images have to be that way. This deck will challenge you on that particular sort of front, okay? But I also assure you that if you are able to let go of that rigidity, if you are able to let go of that sort of fixed thought process and become more open, you will also open yourself to understanding the imagery and understanding so much more than what you thought you were walking into when you bought this deck. Okay, just saying, this deck will speak differently to you, because imagery from the subconscious is essentially very personal to a person. So for instance, right here in the very first card is the image of a snake. Now the imagery of the snake, again, culturally, the meaning of the image of the snake differs from culture to culture, right? The biblical cultures will look at the snake and say, hey, it's bad, evil thing. Typically Lenormand will, even in the Lenormand card, snake is the betrayer, right? Or right? Because that's where the imagery derives its meaning from. But then again, you go into different cultures and the snake has a different meaning, right? Many cultures will look at the snake, many ancient cultures look at the snake energy, and they look at that energy and they're like, oh, the snake can shed its skin, it looks young again. So snake is all about eternal youth, right? In Hinduism, in the mystical aspects of Hinduism, the Kundalini energy, which is the energy at the base of the root chakra, is described as a coiled snake. So just go figure, right? A snake is viewed differently by different cultures. So imagine how you would view a snake as, coming from a specific culture, coming from your maybe personal experiences with snakes, right? Everything changes. So a symbol universally may have one meaning, but to a person, it means something else. And those meanings come from his culture, his or her background, his or her experiences with that symbol. And again, so in your subconscious, that symbol will mean something else, right? Is that too much? But I'm just saying that. So working with this deck is going to be a personal journey for everybody. It's not going to be the same for everybody, and each person is going to sort of interpret these symbols a little bit differently, which is how it should be. I think. So anyhow, back the book. Here in is the section 3. Like after we've gone through the meanings, we have working with the deck, and we have spreads, which is just as how it should be. That's again full marks for this because books where their spreads are before the card meanings are just like hello. Anyhow, so you have one spread here which is called the Waking Dream spread, and there is a sample reading which is perfect. Then you have the Dream Life Cycle spread and a sample reading. Oh yeah, and look, there are different questions. They have sample questions. So I think even with this one, do they have? Yeah, sample questions. So this is interesting because this here that okay, what kind of questions you can address with this spread. Brilliant. I like that. Sample spread, sample spread. Then Dream of Hidden Treasure spread. Wow. And a sample reading. And we have the Dream Wisdom spread with a sample reading. Nice. The Dream Incubation Portal readings. Okay, this is something interesting too, right? The major arcana cards of the mystical dream tarot may be used to incubate a dream or a vision. And oh wow, okay, so you can select the card and get into the appropriate sort of dream incubation meditative. So it's kind of like getting into the card imagery and incubating a dream and that sort of a thing. This is brilliant. And so and here these are her experiences with these cards, I suppose, that she has written for all the major arcana cards. Wow. Just wow. Wow. Ah, again, this you have to sit with this, right? You have to go through this. You have to read through this. This is powerful stuff, man. And of course, we have some blank pages for notes and further reading. Should you be that way inclined, there's a whole list of books, which is again very, very nice because some people find this very fascinating. There's a lot of books here if you want to continue with this work that you can study. There's acknowledgements. So this is the book that came with this deck. And again, I cannot stress enough, this book is a very important resource that will really, really help you get into the meat of this deck, right? Without the book, yes, an experienced tarot reader can manage, I suppose, but a lot of it will be very much on the surface. To get right into the depths of this imagery, you have to at least give this book a read. Okay, so now let's look into the cards. Go. It's fairly straightforward to get the cards out of the box as well, so it's not that hard. And these cards are really nice, pretty thick, and your standard size. The card backs are reversible, yay! So you can, if you want to use reverse cards, you totally can. And they I think they have a sort of a whatever it is called. It's very easy to shuffle and play with them, read with them, mix them, all of that. Alrighty, so here we are. Let's go through these beautiful, beautiful cards. And, you know, I will try my level best not to talk much because I think, like I said, I want to leave all the images up to you for interpretation because it's a very personal sort of a journey here. And I don't want to impose my own thoughts here. And of course, the book is there. So I want you to be fascinated and I want you to go buy this deck. The links are there in the description, right? So use that link to go buy the deck and really get into it. Okay, let's begin. Wow, that was something, wasn't it? These cards are so powerful, so evocative, and the imagery is just, something about this imagery feels at once very familiar and at once very unfamiliar. And that's the whole, I think that's the whole vibe. It pulls you in, it draws you in. It's like, I know this, but I want to also know more about this. What is it? What is it? And you get drawn in. And so although it is not your typical traditional tarot imagery, sometimes it does resonate with it, right? With some cards it's like, oh yeah, I get that, I get why this imagery is this way. But with some cards it's just like, huh, so that's what I'm saying. Like, for instance, yeah, this Four of Cups, this is one card which I was like, huh, because they are, literally, these are the four fates, right? And this, they are spinning, look at that, they are spinning, the thread of fate. And I'm like, that's not what the Four of Cups is typically all about. But hey, this deck isn't typical. While in the same vein, you see Two of Cups, you have this couple here riding a horse, going about their romantic sort of date, right? So again, you have many cards which are different from the norm, many cards which follow the norm, right? And they really, really, I loved the moon card. One of the cards I truly loved, and absolutely, absolutely, absolutely loved. It's the moon card. Look at that, it absolutely evokes all that the moon is about. It's unsettling and at tranquil at the same time, right? So these, again, this is a deck you can either approach with an absolute fresh set of eyes that has not been tainted with preconceived notions. Like, a total novice or beginner can pick this up and just go with it, right? Alternatively, if you are an advanced reader or an experienced reader, somewhat, you have played around with a bunch of decks and then want to pick this up, be aware that your preconceived notions are going to crumble to dust with this deck. You are going to have to set them aside and delve into this deck, because this does not follow a standard norm, such as it were, but at the same time it performs the same function as a tarot deck would, and more than admirably. I believe that this is a deck where, I mean, yeah, you could use it to give readings to other people. Sure, you can use it for dream interpretation purposes, I suppose. That would be brilliant, right? Mystical dream tarot. But I think this is more of a personal deck for each reader, where you can really use it for meditation, for shadow work, for inner journey work, getting into the card and getting close to your subconscious world and understanding the imagery there. So there's a lot of inner work that you can totally do with this deck. This deck fairly sort of calls out for it, really. So again, it's how you want to use it, right? There are no rules. The only rules with the tarot world are the rules that work for you. That's how I see it. So you make it up as you go along, and if it works for you, brilliant. That's how it works, isn't it? So again, this is a brilliant, brilliant deck, and I would love it if you guys bought it and worked with it and played with it. And this deck really, really is a must-have for all tarot readers at all stages of their journey, especially when the imagery of the subconscious is calling out to you. Then this deck can serve as a wonderful sort of a medium or tool that will help you navigate through the complicated, uh, you know, passageways of your mind, subconscious mind, right? And I could speak for hours about this, but I'm gonna stop right now. So go ahead, go buy this deck and get into it. Oh my god, this deck just always makes me go all emotional and heavy with feelings up here in my heart, right? So, yep, this is a deck to have. Thank you so much for waiting patiently and watching the entire video to the very end. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and please share it with your friends. And if you have not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. Follow me on all my social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those places, whichever one you like, or all of them if you like. All the links are in the video description, so go check it out. And I will see you again in my next video. Until then, stay good, be good, and play with your cards. Bye now.